I'm Wendy from Sweden and my story is really crazy. But before I begin, please like and subscribe. I lived in a creepy old house with my parents. It used to belong to my grandma, who was a very odd woman. She studied mysterious races in the world and brought back crates full of strange outfits and creepy items. And most people around thought our house was haunted.
Walk faster, a ghost girl will catch you!
Just then, I leapt out from behind a bush wearing a scary mask. I was just trying to be funny, but people thought I was the weird girl who lived in the scary house, and no one wanted to be my friend. And my parents never had much time for me either because they were always working.
This old house is a money pit. I need to work 2 jobs to keep it.
Please go to your room, Wendy. I'm in a meeting.
I wanted to help out, so I started giving ghost tours of the property. When my parents were away, I loved telling made-up stories about the freaky things I'd seen around the house. I even made up a murder or 2 and sold Mum's dresses with ketchup stains as souvenirs. I made a killing on Halloween. But when Mom and Dad found out, they were furious.
What's wrong with you, Wendy? Why can't you be sweet and well-behaved like other kids?
They took all my money and I was grounded for a month. I was so lonely and wished I had a sibling to play with. Then one day, when I was 12, I got the biggest surprise of my life. I went looking for a snack in the kitchen when I found a thin, pale boy my age instead.
Who are you and what are you doing in our pantry?
I'm Felix, your brother. Didn't your parents tell you they were adopting me?
What the flip? My parents had adopted a whole human and hadn't even bothered to tell me.
Typical!
I don't believe you. What proof do you have?
He waved some official-looking papers in my face. They looked legit.
My parents might have adopted you, but you still need to pass a few tests if you want to be my brother.
Bring it on!
We stood on our heads to see who could do it the longest, ate the worst carrot for lunch. And for the final task, we caught the fattest, slimiest fish and balanced them on our heads while we stood on one leg on the fence. Felix was great at it all.
Congratulations! You are officially my brother!
I was over the moon to finally have someone to play with, but my parents had to ruin that too.
You can't play with Felix anymore.
Why not? Didn't you adopt him so I'd have company? We've decided it isn't a good idea. You can't play with him, and that's that. But why?
Because we said so and we're sending him away.
It was so unfair!
I felt angrier than I'd ever felt before, and I smashed the toy I was playing with into the wall. But suddenly I felt dizzy, and moments later, I blacked out. When I opened my eyes, I was in a hospital bed with a bald doctor and my worried-looking parents next to me.
Wendy's blood pressure shot up suddenly and she fainted. She's fine for now, but try to keep her as calm as possible. I'd also suggest you homeschool her for now.
Mom and Dad took me home. They were being very nice to me, which was suspicious. Now they said I could play with Felix as much as I wanted. But when I ran to his room to tell him the good news, he was glaring at me angrily.
What's wrong? Aren't you happy we can be friends again?
Friends? I just found out that your parents did not adopt me because they wanted to love me or give me a nice home. They just brought me here for you, like I'm some kind of toy. And they might just send me away at any time. I hate you, and I'm gonna make your parents hate you too. They'll realize they're better off having me as a kid. Trust me, I'm not going anywhere.
Felix, don't be like that. I've always wanted a brother.
I'm not your brother.
I was both angry and heartbroken by his changed attitude. But I hoped he'd change over time, but it was the complete opposite. Felix kept messing with my parents. He dropped the pearl earrings I borrowed from Mum down the drain, smashed Dad's laptop, and put dye in their body wash. They had shocking pink skin for weeks. And somehow my parents were always upset with me and thought I was acting out. They never seemed convinced when I said it was all Felix. Was he really turning my parents against me?
Stop being a jerk. These things cost money, and Mom and Dad work really hard, and stop making them think I'm doing all this.
Then just give up and go away yourself. There's only space for one of us here.
I'm not going anywhere, pal.
But then, the most terrible thing happened. A few days after my 13th birthday, we were visited by some people from the museum. They wanted to use Grandma's outfits and creepy items for a display. and they said they'd pay us a lot of money if we allowed them to borrow it for a few weeks. Mom and Dad were over the moon that the dirty junk around the house was worth something.
We can buy a new car and replace the laptop Wendy trashed.
We can pay off the mortgage and finally be debt-free.
This could change our lives for the better. But minutes before the people from the museum arrived to collect the things, I heard a huge crash from the basement. I went running to see all the things smashed and broken on the floor. And Felix standing in the middle with a stick!
Oops! I'm so sorry, I was just looking at them.
This time he had gone too far. I slapped him hard!
You did that on purpose, you jerk!
Just then, my parents came running in and looked at the mess in horror, and then they looked at me like I was the crazy one.
Why are you looking at me like I did this? He's ruined everything, and you're still gonna have him around. Why don't you send him away? You want us to send your brother away? You got so upset before. I was wrong about him, okay? He's not my brother. He's crazy, and he's dangerous.
Mom and Dad exchanged a weird long glance and nodded.
Fine. We'll send him to a special facility so he can get better.
That night, I locked my door, but I could still hear Felix screaming and crying in his room. The next day, he was gone. Mum and Dad looked sad and broken. They tried to be nice to me, but I saw right through them. They were sad because Felix had left, and I could never make them happy. In the fall, the doctor said it would be good for me to restart regular high school. Things were going really well on my first day until...
Hey, watch out! It's a ghost girl! I'm so scared!
Dude, grow up!
That wasn't all. In my very first class, I met the most bonkers girl.
I heard you were the ghost girl.
What's it to you?
I'm Tara. I just moved here from Ireland. Is it true your house is haunted? I'd love to meet a real-life ghost. I've dreamed of it my whole life.
Are you nuts? Who has creepy dreams like that?
You haven't read Dead Love Doesn't Die. It's the most romantic book ever. Are there handsome ghosts in your house? Are they single?
Girl, you need help!
No. I need a ghostly boyfriend with ice-cold lips and dreamy eyes who can transport me to his time and give me a million ghostly kisses. And he'll
Was
take
there
me
something
away
wrong
to-
with me? First Felix and now Tara? Was I a weirdo magnet? For the next few weeks, she stuck to me like glue. At first, I acted indifferent because I wasn't sure she'd even stick around for too long. But she did. And I slowly started to enjoy having a friend.
Ha! Look, there's Ghost Girl and her vampire girlfriend! What, in the twilight?
Tara hissed and bit the jerk on his arm.
You're absolutely crazy.
Hey, no one messes with my friend. Yuck! He tasted disgusting. Let's go get candy.
How about I make you a sandwich at my place?
You mean it?
Tara instantly fell in love with the place.
This place is fantastic. Can you imagine the paranormal romances that could take place here?
I just laughed and went to the kitchen to get the sandwiches. But there was already someone in there.
Felix, what are you doing here?
I'm back. Of course, Mom and Dad didn't tell you. You would have forced them to keep me away.
It would be for their own good after the mess you made last time. What kind of facility allows home visits?
Ha! I'm not at a facility. They sent me on vacation to Bali to prove how much they loved me and wanted me in the family. I'm back now, and I'll make sure you end up in the facility soon.
I couldn't believe this was happening. I made some excuse and sent Tara home before Felix did something to her. When my parents got home, I confronted them.
You lied to me. He's dangerous and out to get me, but you still allowed him in our home.
Mom started to cry, and Dad glared at me.
You're upsetting your mother, Wendy. How long will this go on?
You don't even care that I'm upset too? You guys are the most selfish parents ever. I'm going to stay at my friend's house because I don't feel safe here.
You can't leave. We should call the doctor. I told you we shouldn't have sent her back to school.
Dad locked me in my room. I could hear Felix laughing under my door. He was evil. I had to get out of here. I called Tara and told her what was up. Within minutes, she was outside my window.
Come on, ghost girl. Let's get you to safety.
Tara's house was so normal. It was awesome. She pulled out a mattress for me to sleep in her room, then brushed my hair to calm me down as I told her everything.
Wow, your parents sound like a piece of work. And I finally get why you're so weird about being friends.
I can't trust anyone. My parents ignored me for so long and thought things would be different for me once Felix came. but he's the worst. And ever since he came, my parents treat me like I'm some lunatic. When he's the crazy one, he really scares me.
Don't worry. You're safe here. I'll punch his lights out if he tries to mess with you.
Suddenly, I heard a loud tap on the window and he was standing outside. I screamed and jumped up.
It's him! Felix is here!
He was holding rocks in his hand and wore the evilest grin.
Where? I don't see anything.
Felix threw the first rock. It slammed against the window hard, leaving a deep crack.
Are you blind? He's right there!
Wendy, are you sure you don't, see ghosts or something? Because I can't see anyone.
Didn't you hear the rock hit the window? Look, it's left a crack!
What are you talking about?
What?
Why was Tara suddenly lying to me? Suddenly the door slammed open and my parents were standing there looking worried.
How did you find me? Did you tell them I was here? Tara, I thought you were my friend. No, Wendy. Tara didn't tell us. We saw you sneaking out of the house and followed you. Let's go home. No, you're just going to lock me up in my room again. What's going on? Tara says she can't see Felix. Is she lying or am I crazy?
The saddest look crossed my mom's face, and she broke down crying and hugged me.
No, Wendy. You're not crazy.
That's when they told me how they'd never adopted a boy named Felix.
We thought he was just a harmless, imaginary friend. But when you started seeing him all the time, we tried to stop it by saying we'd send him away.
The doctor said you had created Felix to help with your feelings of being alone, and we should play along, so we agreed. But then you started acting out and blaming it on Felix.
We were so glad when you finally sent him away yourself. We thought things were going to be okay now. But then you said you saw him again, and
We just can't see you like this, sweetie, and it's all our fault. We should have given you more time when you were a kid.
I was in utter shock.
So everything Felix did, the earrings, the laptop, the items.
It was all you, but we weren't mad about any of it. We were just worried about you.
But if Felix was the friend I made up, why was he suddenly so mean to me? Your doctor said you suffered from low self-esteem. In your mind, no one wants to be friends with you for long. Are you real? Can you guys see Tara?
I could pinch you!
Ouch. Okay, you're real.
Don't worry, dear. We talked to your doctor, and he says we can start therapy sessions now. You'll be fine.
And we'll be with you all the way.
Me too!
They all took me in a big bear hug, and suddenly I didn't feel alone at all.